Hey there, Coastin With Quayz fans. Official Coastin With Quayz merch is available now through Redbubble. Click the link in the description to get your merch today. Every purchase helps to support the channel, which means more coaster content. And now, on with the video. Hey everybody, this is Mark, aka Quayz. Welcome to another Coastin With Quayz coaster video. In this video, I'm going to spend a little bit of time talking about Six Flags and some of the news surrounding their decisions to close some iconic and not so iconic roller coasters at the end of 2024. For those that don't closely follow amusement park news, it is important to note that both Cedar Fair and the old Six Flags companies merged together in the summer of 2024 to form the new Six Flags Entertainment Corporation. Many of the decisions revolving around all of the parks that now fall under the one corporation are probably coming from this new merger. So far, Six Flags has announced that they are going to be closing 4 major coasters at the end of the 2024 season, and they won't be opening in 2025. They are Kingda Ka and Green Lantern at Six Flags Great Adventure, Nighthawk at Carowinds, and Anaconda at King's Dominion. To be honest, 3 of these 4 coasters being tossed in the trash by Six Flags is not very surprising, but let's start with the craziest announcement, the removal of Kingda Ka at Six Flags Great Adventure. Late in the summer of 2024, there were rumblings that this could be the final season for Kingda Ka. At first, I thought these rumblings were kind of crazy. I mean, why would Six Flags decide to take down pretty much their most iconic coaster in all of their parks? Until it was closed, it was the tallest roller coaster in the world, and it held that record for many, many years. With that being said, I was one of the lucky ones that got to ride Kingda Ka a few times this past summer, and it was definitely showing its age. I've always been partial to Top Thrill Dragster at Cedar Point, and with that turning into Top Thrill 2, that seems like that's a really exciting ride. But it closed. So at some point, Six Flags maybe would have been thinking about converting Kingda Ka into something like Top Thrill 2. But with that not being able to successfully run, I doubt they want to make a major investment like that without knowing for sure if it's going to pay off. From that perspective, it totally makes sense to me why they would remove Kingda Ka, but I also understand why many people were upset that Six Flags did not give any notice that this ride would be closing. I live only an hour or so away from Great Adventure, so I've always had many opportunities to go on Kingda Ka, but many people don't have those same opportunities. So I could understand how not having one last ride could be disappointing to many coaster enthusiasts. Also being torn down at Great Adventure is Green Lantern, and this one's no surprise to me. Many of these stand-up coasters by B&M are a dying breed, and if they are staying in parks, they're being converted to floorless coasters, but since Great Adventure already has Medusa, there would be no reason to do this with Green Lantern. The positive to take away from both of these Great Adventure coasters being retired is that they are adjacent to each other in the park, and together they take up a large amount of real estate. Six Flags has already announced that in 2026, Great Adventure is going to be getting a record-breaking multi-launching coaster. Since most of the leadership from Cedar Fair is who is actually running the new Six Flags Corporation, I have full confidence that this new coaster in 2026 is going to be absolutely amazing. I mean, if you're going to take down Kingda Ka, you definitely have to replace it with something huge. I don't know exactly what it's going to be quite yet, but if Alpenfury at Canada's Wonderland is a huge hit, I could see that being something that could go into Six Flags Great Adventure soon. Premier Rides is not my favorite coaster manufacturer, but Alpenfury looks excellent, and if they took that and made it even crazier, I think that would be a huge hit at a place like Great Adventure. Let's move on to Carowinds in North and South Carolina, where the park recently announced that they will be removing Nighthawk, the Vekoma Flying Dutchman coaster. These Flying Dutchman models are a dying breed. They have a history of being relocated and dismantled. For example, another Flying Dutchman model, Firehawk, which used to reside at Kings Island, was originally from Geauga Lake, where it was known as X-Flight. Kings Island then removed that ride to make room for Orion. And I'm glad that they did, because although Orion's not the best Giga coaster, it's much better than Firehawk was. Nighthawk is no better than Firehawk. It's rough, it has terrible operations, and it's standing on prime real estate. That portion of land in the front of Carowinds would be perfect for a huge roller coaster. And that's exactly what I think Carowinds is going to be putting there. In 2025, they're opening up a pair of kids' rides in their Camp Snoopy area. One of these is a water ride. The other is a kiddie launching coaster. And then they've announced that in the future, they are going to put in a major water ride. So I think whatever goes into the plot of land where Nighthawk currently stands will come after that major water ride. Personally, I think a huge dive coaster would be awesome in this spot. Yes, I understand that coaster enthusiasts don't love dive coasters, but the general population does. Carowinds is arguably one of the most popular amusement parks in this portion of the country, so people travel to go to that park. I think a dive coaster would be perfect. As you enter the park, you walk down the main midway and arrive right at a new dive coaster standing 250 feet above you. People will run into that queue line immediately to ride something like that. And I think it would really fill out the coaster lineup at that park. Like Kingda Ka and Green Lantern, Carowinds did not make an announcement prior to the closing of Nighthawk, but that's okay. The ride really wasn't that bad. If there were a few people that liked that ride, I don't think they'll be too mad once they get something bigger and better. And that takes us to the final announcement, which is the closing of Anaconda at King's Dominion. Like Nighthawk, Kingda Ka, and Green Lantern, this was not announced prior to closing that it would be closing. But like I said with the other coasters, I don't think people will be very mad about this one. It's old, it's rough, and it's in a prime spot for a new coaster. King's Dominion has been putting a lot of time and money into their jungle expedition area of the park. In 2025, we're getting Rapterra, a launching B&M wing coaster. They have also completely rethemed and repainted I-305 to become Pantherion. So I think putting a new ride or roller coaster where Anaconda once stood will continue to flesh out the theming in that area. I was lucky enough to get a couple of rides on Anaconda in 2024, so I can add that credit to my list, and I'm happy to see it go for something new. What do I think could go in that area? Well, there's a couple of options. The coaster that I would love to see the most would be a Vekoma tilt coaster. I think that this could be placed awesome in that spot. There's already a tunnel that goes under the water of the lake where Anaconda is located, so they could use that existing tunnel and have the Vekoma tilt coaster tilt down and drop riders right into that tunnel. I really love it when coasters utilize the existing terrain or landscape of an area. So another addition that I think would be great at King's Dominion would be a Vekoma flying coaster. I think it would be awesome to have the car fly close to the water so it seems like you're just about to hit the surface, but then it rises up again. I don't know which one of these two I could see most likely happening, but I would probably lean more towards the tilt coaster. If the tilt coaster Siren's Curse at Cedar Point ends up being a success, I could see Six Flags wanting to put more tilt coasters around the chain. I know it can be tough seeing coasters being removed from parks, especially if you've been riding them for many years. But at the same time, I do understand that Six Flags does have to run a business. Since the merger, they have to analyze the parks and look at what's making money, what's not making money, and how they can best invest into the chain to make every park better. It would have been nice to get a little bit of a warning that some of these coasters were going to be dismantled, but at the same time, I think some of those decisions did come post-merger, and so they didn't really have much time to think about it. So from that standpoint, I get it. I do think that everything that Six Flags has announced for the 2025 season looks awesome. Alpine Fury at Canada's Wonderland, Rapterra at King's Dominion, Siren's Curse at Cedar Point, Wrath of Rakshasa at Six Flags Great America all look great. And there's a couple other rides that are going to open in the chain as well. So overall, I think the future of Six Flags is looking really good. Let me know what you think about all of these closures of roller coasters in the Six Flags chain. Do you support the new merged chain and what they're doing, or are you a little bit nervous about the future? And until next time, keep on coasting.